I was sitting at a low-lit bar, sipping on a glass of whiskey, trying to shake off the weight of another soul-draining week. My mind wasn't really there, just drifting, lost in random thoughts, until the door creaked open and everything inside me went still. There she was. Ashley, my wife of 7 years. She walked in like she owned the place, but that ain't what stopped my heart. It was the guy walking in behind her. James. I had seen James around a few times before. One of those slick types, sharp clothes, polished shoes, that fake grin glued to his face. I never gave him a second thought. Ashley never mentioned him, never brought up his name. But now, with him walking into the same bar she just stepped into, something inside me screamed. They sat at a table just a few feet away, like some sick joke. They either didn't see me, or they did, and just didn't care. And when I saw her laughing with him, her head tilted back, that smile she used to save for me, I felt something inside my chest twist. Like someone reached in and grabbed hold of my heart with an ice-cold hand. I tried to keep my cool. I really did. But then James stood up and started walking over. I froze. What could he possibly have to say? He walked right up, slapped me on the shoulder, and leaned in close. You lost your woman, soldier. She's mine now, he said, grinning like he had just won some damn prize. I stared at him, clenching my fist under the table. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. And before I could decide what to do, he turned and headed to the restroom like nothing happened. I stood up, hands trembling, not with fear, but with a fire I hadn't felt in years. I walked over to Ashley. She had her back to me, too caught up scrolling through her phone to notice the storm behind her. Does it make you feel good to humiliate me in public? I asked, my voice low, sharp enough to cut through her little bubble. She looked up. No guilt, no shame, just a flicker of annoyance. Maybe even amusement. And then James returned, his smug grin still glued to his face. Still here, huh? He sneered. I did not plan it. Didn't think it through. But before I knew it, my fist hit his arm hard. There was a sickening pop as he stumbled back, gripping his forearm. The whole bar went quiet. Chairs stopped creaking. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. But I didn't care. My world had already blown to pieces. James cursed, stumbling. Ashley's eyes went wide, but not out of guilt. She looked angry, like I had embarrassed her. What is wrong with you, Michael? She snapped, jumping to her feet. That did it. You serious right now, Ashley? I said, my voice shaking. I'm not the one sneaking around. Stop it, she snapped, cutting me off, her eyes narrowing like I was a damn pest. Don't I? I said. Because it sure looks obvious to me. James, still cradling his arm, couldn't keep his mouth shut. She doesn't want you, man. You're nothing to her. I turned to Ashley, hoping, just hoping, he was wrong. But she just crossed her arms. You've been smothering me for years, Michael. I deserve better than this. Her words hit like a hammer. I gave her everything: time, love, support, and now I was the bad guy? You deserve better? I asked, nearly choking on the words. This guy? This dirtbag who can't even wait until you're out of the marriage to start grabbing on you in public. At least he listens to me, she said, her voice flat. All those nights we stayed up talking. All the times I held her when she cried, pushed her to chase her dreams. None of it mattered now. The room kept watching. Strangers in the bar frozen, judging, listening. But I didn't care anymore. James, ever the clown, tried to act tough again. Let's go, babe, he said to Ashley like I wasn't even there. I muttered, yeah, maybe you should. Ashley didn't move at first. Just stood there, arms crossed. You always make everything about you, she said, cold as winter. You never think about what I want. I stared at her. This wasn't the Ashley I married. Or maybe it was, and I just never wanted to see it. She turned and left. James shuffled behind her, still holding his arm, wearing that smug grin like he had won something. And that was it. The bar door swung shut behind them. I was alone, surrounded by whispers and stares, but it didn't matter. I was numb. I made my way back to my stool like I was walking underwater. The bartender came over, wiped the counter, gave me a look, part sympathy, part caution. You all right, man? Yeah, I lied. Whiskey neat, I added. He poured it and slid the glass to me. I stared at it for a long while before taking a slow sip. It burned, but not enough. I kept replaying everything, her face, his words. The moment she just walked out. Had she really been unhappy that long? Was I that blind? Maybe. The bartender stood nearby, unsure whether to ask anything else. He didn't. Smart guy. I finished the glass, threw some cash down, and walked out into the night. The air slapped me in the face. Woke me up a bit. I pulled out my phone, thumb hovering over my contacts. I wanted to call someone, anyone, but there was no one. Everyone close to us was tied to her too. And family? They tell me to be patient, to talk, to forgive. But forgive what? I ended up calling my brother, Ryan, the one person I knew would just listen. He picked up on the third ring. Mike? What's up? I tried to speak, but nothing came out. Mike? You there? Yeah, I said. My voice sounded wrecked. You sound like help, bro. What happened? I told him everything. The whole story poured out of me like floodwaters breaking a dam. Ryan just listened. No interruptions. No judgment. Just silence. The good kind. The kind that tells you you're not alone. When I finished, there was a long pause. Damn, Mike, he finally said. I don't even know what to say. That's brutal. Yeah, I said, rubbing the back of my neck. I don't know what to do now. You want to come over? He offered. Crash here, talk, or not. Whatever you need. I thought about it. But I wasn't ready to see anyone just yet. Thanks, man. But I need some time to think. I can't wrap my head around this. All right, brother. Just promise me you'll call if it gets heavy, Ryan said on the phone. I will, I muttered, meaning it, even if I did not feel like talking anymore. I hung up and stood under the dim streetlight, staring down the empty road like it might give me some sort of answer. But all I felt was lost. Broken. Like everything I had spent the last 8 years building with Ashley had been bulldozed in a single night. I shoved my hands in my pockets and started walking home. Funny, just a few hours ago, that house felt like my safe place. Our place. A home where we laughed, fought, made plans. Now it looked like just another building on the block. Cold. Hollow. When I stepped through the front door, silence hit me like a freight train. The same jacket she tossed over the dining chair was still there. Dishes were still in the sink. It was like nothing had changed, and yet everything had. I leaned against the door, trying to catch my breath, but every second in that house felt like I was drowning. Her scent still hung in the air. The little floral decorations she liked, the framed pictures from our hiking trips, even that dumb basket of pine cones she insisted made the place cozy, it all mocked me now. I walked into the living room like I was wading through fog. My mind kept cycling through the same question. How long had this been happening? Was I really that blind? I dropped down onto the couch. The second I did, my phone buzzed in my pocket. My heart skipped. For a second, I thought it might be her. It wasn't. Just Ryan. I know you need space. But don't do anything dumb. I'm here if you need to talk. I dropped the phone on the coffee table and rubbed my face. Talking wouldn't fix this. Nothing would. I sat there until the shadows stretched across the floor and the whiskey in my gut turned cold. Eventually, without even thinking about it, I made my way upstairs. I stopped in front of the bedroom door. My hand hovered over the knob like it might burn me. That room used to mean something. It was where we'd laid next to each other night after night. But now, I didn't know what it was. I stepped in. It was quiet, too quiet. The streetlight outside barely lit the space. Everything looked the same, her pillow fluffed just right, that blanket she loved bunched up on her side, but the feeling was different. Wrong. And then I saw it, her charger still plugged into the wall. Like she was planning on coming back. Like nothing had happened. I sat on the edge of the bed and buried my face in my hands. That moment in the bar replayed in my mind like a loop from hell. The smug look on that guy's face. The way Ashley brushed me off like I was just some nuisance. Like I was in her way. Suddenly, I stood up and started pacing. My chest felt tight. My hands were shaking. I needed answers. Real ones. No more guessing. Calling her would be useless. She'd spin it, twist it, flip it around on me like she did at the bar. I knew that. I had to be smarter. That's when I saw her laptop on the desk. Still open. The screen dim, but glowing. My pulse quickened. I sat down in front of it, stared at the login screen. Password protected. Of course. I tried my name. Nothing. Her birthday. Nope. Then I remembered she used to use our wedding date for everything. I typed it in. The screen unlocked. I sat there, staring at her desktop, my stomach in knots. I clicked open her email, then her messages. My heart pounded so loud I thought I'd go deaf. And there it was. Dozens of messages between her and James. Flirting. Planning little rendezvous. Making jokes about how clueless I was. About how easy it had been to fool me. I felt like I might throw up. One message caught my eye. He called me old news. She laughed. Said I was too predictable. That I would never see it coming. I gripped the edge of the desk so hard my knuckles turned white. I had been a joke to them. Everything I thought was love, everything I had given, that was their entertainment. I slammed the laptop shut and stormed around the room like a caged animal. I wanted to punch something, scream, but I didn't. Instead, I grabbed my phone and dialed her number. It rang twice, then went a voicemail. Figures. I typed out a message. We need to talk. Now. No response. Of course, she was probably curled up with James somewhere, laughing at me all over again. I waited. Minutes turned to hours. Silence. I sent another message. Then another. Still nothing. It was like I didn't exist. By the time dawn started breaking through the blinds, I had not slept a wink. My stomach was empty. My chest heavier than ever. I looked at the charger still plugged in by her side of the bed. That one small, stupid thing pissed me off more than anything. She had left it behind like she was just going to swing back by later. Like I was nothing more than a pit stop in her new life. I got up and wandered through the house, letting my feet take me wherever. Ended up in the bathroom. Turned the light on. And there it was, her makeup scattered across the counter. Her perfume still lingering in the air like she was just there. The sight of it hit me like a punch to the gut. I looked at myself in the mirror. Pale face. Bloodshot eyes. I looked like I had aged 5 years overnight. What happened to me? How did I not see it coming? Then, without thinking, I opened the cabinet beneath the sink and started rummaging through her stuff. I do not even know what I was looking for. Maybe more proof. Maybe closure. And that is when I found it. Her second phone. I had seen it before. Months ago. She said it was for work. Said she barely used it. But that was a lie. And now I had it in my hand. My fingers were trembling as I stared down at it, knowing damn well whatever was inside would hurt more than I was ready for. But I needed the truth. The same password worked. My breath caught when the screen lit up. Right away, messages started flooding in, notifications stacked on top of each other, all the stuff she had kept hidden from me for who knows how long. The first one that popped up was from James. Can't wait to see you again. Last night was incredible. Reading those words made my stomach twist. I started scrolling through her conversations, and what I found made my blood go cold. There were pictures, messages, dates, an entire second life laid out right in front of me. A life I was never part of. A life she had been sharing with another man while lying to my face every day. I dropped the phone on the bathroom counter like it had burned me, then backed up until my shoulders hit the wall. My legs gave out, and I slid down until I was sitting on the cold tile. I buried my face in my hands. It felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. She had cheated on me again and again, and I never saw it. I had been too trusting, too blind. And now I was sitting here, drowning in the weight of it. I gave her everything, my time, my love, my loyalty, and she gave it to someone else. I sat there for what felt like forever. The cold from the tile slowly creeping into my bones. My breathing loud and ragged. I wanted to scream, but nothing came out. Then my phone buzzed. I thought maybe it was Ryan checking in again. But no, it was her. Ashley. She had finally messaged me. It said, "We need to talk." Just that. For little words. No apology. No explanation. Just cold. Just like she had been at the bar. Like everything that happened meant nothing. Something in me snapped. I was done waiting. Done being silent. If she wanted to talk, fine, we'd talk. But this time, I was not going to stand there like a chump. I was going to look her in the eye and get the answers she owed me. I grabbed my keys and headed straight out the door. The sky was painted in that ugly orange hue that comes just after dawn. Everything looked too bright, too fake, like the world didn't know it was supposed to be grieving with me. I barely noticed the streets as I drove. I only had one place in mind, James's apartment. I knew where it was thanks to all those messages she'd sent. They had met there plenty of times. I pulled up to his building like I was on autopilot, parked right up on the curb, climbed out of my truck, and walked toward the front entrance. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, my fists clenched. This wasn't just about catching her in a lie anymore. This was about standing my ground and demanding to be treated like a human being, something I should have done a long time ago. I took the stairs 2 at a time and stopped in front of his door. I didn't wait. I didn't hesitate. I slammed my fist against the door hard enough to rattle it. No answer, but I heard movement inside. I hit it again, louder. Then it opened, and there she was, Ashley, standing in the doorway wearing nothing but a bathrobe I had never seen before, her hair a mess, like she didn't even try to pretend she hadn't just spent the night with him. She blinked, surprised for a moment. Then her face went cold. That same empty look from the bar. "Michael," she said flatly. "What are you doing here?" My hands curled into fists at my sides, but I kept my voice level. You wanted to talk? I said, repeating her message. Let's talk. She sighed, like I was bothering her. This really isn't the time, Michael. You shouldn't be here. I shoved the door open and walked past her. She stepped aside, not even trying to stop me. The apartment was small. The bed was a mess. Her clothes were scattered on the floor. It smelled like betrayal. I turned to face her. Why, Ashley? After all these years, why him? She folded her arms, her jaw tight. I don't owe you anything. 7 years, I snapped. We've been together 7 years, and this is how it ends? Her voice got sharper. Things have been bad between us for a long time. You know that. We could have talked. We could have worked through it. My voice cracked. But instead you ran off with this guy. Her eyes rolled. It's not just about James. It's about me. I felt trapped in this marriage for years, Michael. You didn't see it. You didn't want to see it. I loved you, I whispered. And that's the problem, she snapped. You loved me like I was a thing to protect. Like I was fragile. I needed someone who listens. Someone who sees me. And right on cue, James stepped out from another room. Bandage still wrapped around his arm. Still cocky. He walked right over and stood beside her like they were some twisted team. Time to leave, Michael, he said, voice calm like he was in charge. She's not yours anymore. I looked at Ashley, begging her with my eyes to say something, anything, that made this make sense. She said nothing. Something in me just gave out. But I did not lash out. I laughed. It was dry. Hollow. You two deserve each other, I said. Hope it was worth throwing your entire life away. Ashley raised an eyebrow, her expression flickering for just a second. But it was too late. You'll regret this, I told her. Maybe not now. Maybe not tomorrow. But one day, when everything comes crashing down, you'll remember what you threw away. Then I turned and walked out. I slammed the door behind me. And just like that, it was done. I drove around for a while after that, but it was all a blur. The anger had given way to something worse, emptiness. The city rolled past my window, but it felt like none of it was real. I pulled into a quiet park, killed the engine, and just sat there, staring at nothing. That was my life now. Just nothing. Eventually, my phone buzzed again. It was her. Ashley, I'm sorry it had to happen this way, but I can't do this anymore. We both need to move on. Move on? That message set my blood boiling again. She acted like we both just drifted apart, like this was mutual. Not like she had cheated, lied, and humiliated me. I stared at the message, then deleted it. I wasn't going to answer. I wasn't giving her that satisfaction. When I got back home, the place felt colder than ever. Like a shell. I walked through the house, quiet and tired, and made my way upstairs. Everything was still there. Her clothes, her perfume, her touch on the place, but none of it meant anything anymore. It was just noise. Eventually, I sat on the edge of the bed, rubbing my hands over the covers, thinking about what to do next. Then I stood up, grabbed a box from the closet, and started packing her stuff. All of it. Her clothes, her shoes, her makeup, one piece at a time. And with every item that went into the box, I felt a little bit lighter. It hurt, yeah, but it was the only way forward. Halfway through it, I stopped and took a breath. This was the beginning of something new. Maybe something better. And no matter how much it hurt right now, I wasn't going back. Not ever again. While I was clearing out the last of her things, I came across an old photo of us, back from our honeymoon. We looked happy, smiling wide, holding on to each other like nothing could ever break us. I stared at that photo for a long time, my throat tightening up with that lump that hits before the tears. How in the world did we go from that to this? How did something so full of love fall apart so completely? I crushed the photo in my hand. I wanted to cry. Lord knows I felt it welling up inside me. But I didn't. Not yet. Instead, I tossed that crumpled memory into the box and slammed the lid shut. That was it. I was done giving her power over me, her, James, the whole mess. They could have each other and the wreckage they caused. I was done being the one left in pieces. I dragged the box down the stairs and left it by the front door. I would figure out what to do with it later. Right now, I needed air. I needed to get away from all of it. The walls, the reminders, the ghost of what used to be my life. I grabbed my jacket, took my keys, and walked out without even looking back. The park was quiet when I got there. The same one I had stopped at earlier, but now it felt different. Peaceful, even. The breeze was cool, and the trees had started to turn. Reds and golds scattered like fire across the branches. I sat down on a bench and just breathed. Let the wind run across my face. Let my mind go quiet for a moment. I had no idea what came next. Divorce was coming, that was certain. There was no turning back. But thinking about rebuilding from the ground up? That felt impossible. Where do you even begin? Then it hit me. Maybe that's just it. Maybe you don't start with a grand plan. Maybe you start with one small thing. One step. One deep breath at a time. And eventually, it adds up to something more. I sat there until my mind stopped spinning, until the thoughts weren't screaming anymore. No magic moment. Just stillness. And in that stillness, I found something I hadn't felt in days: clarity. I could not change what Ashley did. I could not rewind the lies or undo the hurt. But I could decide what happened next. I could move forward. And that meant starting now. When I got home, the sun was already heading down. Shadows stretched across the yard like fingers. The box of her stuff was still sitting right where I left it by the door, waiting. I stared at it, then pulled out my phone and scrolled through my contacts until I found Brad, my old lawyer. Hadn't talked to him in years. Last time, it was over something small. Now, not so much. He picked up after a couple rings. Michael? Been a while. Everything okay? I swallowed hard. I need to file for divorce. Saying it out loud made it feel real. Like stone dropping in my gut. Brad was quiet for a second, then he let out a soft sigh. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Let's meet tomorrow. We'll go over everything. Thanks, Brad. I appreciate it. After we settled on a time, I hung up. And just like that, it was happening. Divorce. The word stung. Felt like admitting failure. Like standing in the ashes of something I once swore I'd protect forever. But there was no fixing what she broke. And the truth is, I deserved better. Back inside, everything still looked the same. Her shoes by the door. Her favorite blanket tossed on the couch. Her touch was on everything, but it all felt fake now. Every corner of the house held memories, but none of them felt real anymore. I poured myself a drink, sat down, and stared at that box again. It felt like a coffin, like I had packed away the last pieces of a life that no longer belonged to me. As I sipped my whiskey, my mind drifted back through the last 7 years. We had good times, real good times. Laughs, road trips, nights where we stayed up talking about dreams, kids, the future. But all of that, it's hard to know what was real now. There were cracks too. Fights, silence, distance, things I brushed off, excused, tried to fix. But not once did I think it would end like this. With betrayal. With her choosing some punk over me. With her standing in that apartment wearing a robe that wasn't mine. Still, what hit me the hardest wasn't her lies. It was that I had stopped trusting myself. Somewhere along the way, I believed in her more than I believed in my own gut. I saw the signs. I felt it in my bones. And I ignored it because I didn't want it to be true. Well, it was. And it shattered everything. I set the empty glass on the table, the sound soft and final. The decision to divorce her hurt like hell, but I knew it was the right one. You do not stay with someone who looks at you like a burden. You do not fight for someone who's already gone. I thought about what I'd tell someone else in my shoes. Simple advice, really. Trust your gut. Pay attention. Do not mistake love for weakness. And never, ever let someone treat you like you're disposable. I sat there in the stillness, the house finally quiet. Not peaceful, not yet. But still. And that meant something. This was not the end. It was the beginning. A hard one, sure. A painful one, but necessary. And when I stood up, I looked at that box by the door. I picked it up, walked outside into the cool night, and carried it to the trash. I set it down, turned around, and walked away. It was not over yet, but I had taken the first real step. The next morning, I woke up different. Not healed, not fixed, but lighter. There was still pain, memories that would take time to fade. But I was not stuck in the past anymore. I was not sitting around waiting for her to change her mind or offer some fake apology. I had a life to rebuild, a new road to walk. And for the first time in a long time, I was ready to walk it, alone, sure, but stronger and free.